It's great to be back here in Ithaca, as it always is. So many familiar faces. When I think back to my time here and all of those misbegotten hours at the Sun, torturing poor Dave Woolheater, it was a great education. And I think almost everyone I meet from the Cornell community feels the same way, that the years we spent here, whatever we focused on, whatever variety of interests we had, it was a formative and enriching experience. And you can't say that about everywhere, and I think these kinds of events drive home that message more than anything else. I've been fortunate to be the MC of this dinner on a number of occasions. My father was the MC of this event, Dick Schaap, for many years, from its very beginnings in the late 70s and early 80s. And it's just an honor to be among so many great Cornellians. And tonight's class is just absolutely spectacular, as Nikki said. They always are, but some are greater than others. One thing also that's driven home every time I'm here is I keep getting older and the honorees keep getting younger. So it's great that Andy's among the honorees tonight. makes me feel a little bit better. But everybody else is a child. We will get started now with our first honoree, and appropriately enough, as Nikki mentioned, and as we will be constantly reminding you over the course of the ceremony, it is a big night for Big Red Wrestling. And our first honoree is Steve Bozak. 3 wrestlers are going into the Hall of Fame tonight, but his path to national acclaim might be the most interesting and the most unlikely. He grew up in State College, Pennsylvania, and he aspired to compete, naturally enough, for the university situated there. But that interest wasn't necessarily reciprocated. The Cornell coach at the time, the great Rob Cole, who is also here tonight. Rob, where are you? Where are you? Rob went to the same high school as Steve. He's also obviously from State College. He swooped in. Penn State's loss was Cornell's gain. The catch was Rob wanted Steve to drop weight and compete at 149 pounds, which he agreed to do, but that only lasted for so long. I mean, look at him. That was not going to work. His size put him on a collision course with another great collegiate wrestler of his time, his counterpart at, of course, Penn State, Quentin Wright. By the time he was a senior, Steve was competing at 184 pounds. And in January of that senior season, he was defeated by the aforementioned Mr. Wright at the Southern Scuffle. But just a few weeks later, at the NCAAs, Steve would have his revenge in the final, in overtime, claiming the national championship. An Eastern champion, a 3-time All-American, an NCAA champion, it's our honor to present for induction, Steve Bozak. We always take a picture.
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to all the other inductees. First and foremost, I would like to thank my mom and dad for sacrificing so much, and really for prioritizing me over your other 4 kids. In all seriousness, you both dedicated so much time and energy to us, and now that I have kids of my own, I have a newfound understanding and appreciation for your commitment. It takes a lot of love and dedication to spend every weekend driving countless hours to tournaments to sit in a hot, windowless high school gym for 10 hours, only for me to wrestle a collective 10 minutes. This doesn't include all the practices, camps, matches, scouting, and mental energy it took to put me in the best position to reach my goals. So thank you for this. I am beyond grateful. You shaped me into who I am and the reason for why I have all the great things in my life. Speaking of great things in my life, I would like to thank my wife for literally I'd like to thank you for literally everything. I will make note that I had not won a national championship until we started dating. So Katie, feel free to take all the credit you want. But just remember, I also lost a bunch of matches while we were dating. So don't overreach. Now, quick story. I almost did not have the opportunity to be here in front of you today, as I had committed to Brown. Thankfully, my coach, Rob Cole, told me that if I did not at least agree to visit Cornell, he was going to drive to my hometown, which, as you just learned, also happens to be his hometown, and tie me down to the back of his truck and bring me to Ithaca. I relented and agreed to drive myself on my own accord. It wasn't until I arrived on Cornell's campus that I realized that Coach Cole doesn't own a truck. I did, however, realize that Cornell was the place I wanted to be. While winning a national championship was certainly the highlight of my career, it is not top of mind when I reflect upon my time here. I think about the camaraderie between my coaches and teammates, the joke of the day to uplift us before every grueling practice, the summers in Ithaca, hanging out and training, and then those workouts on Buffalo Street. If you know, you know, and then if you don't, I advise not going there. Now, there's something about this place that propels people to reach new levels. We all push and help each other to reach our goals. I don't want to ruin Cam and Kyle's speeches here in case they plan to talk about how great they are. But none of us were really that good in high school. I was not a top 200 recruit and never won states. Cam wasn't a top 100 recruit, and Kyle, I don't remember what you were exactly, but perhaps your high school ranking didn't suggest that you were going to become one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And I think that's something that makes Cornell a very special place. There's something in the water here, Cayuga's waters, something about the campus and the endless hills that make every walk to class a workout. And then something about the culture our coaches set, carried on by our teammates, supported by our alumni, and fostered by the university that brought us to new heights. It's pretty incredible achieving my dream of winning a national championship, but an added bonus to do so with such great friends, teammates, and coaches. While my time at Cornell might not have been as crazy as being tied down to a truck bed for 4 hours, it was one hell of a ride, and I'm glad that I did not miss out on it. Thank you.
All right, we're going to find out exactly how great Kyle was now. Kyle Dake is our next enshrinee, one of the great wrestlers in Cornell and in the history of the sport, as Steve just said. It was November 25th, 2009, Cornell versus Maryland here at the Friedman Wrestling Center, and Kyle was making his college debut. Of course, he's from right up the road in Lansing, and he was facing a fifth-year senior from Maryland, an All-American named Alex Crom at 141 pounds. With seconds remaining in the match, it seemed Crom was in control, but Kyle executed a thrilling hip toss, slamming Crom to his back for a takedown, getting the win and sending the crowd into a frenzy. Among those in attendance was Cornell president Hunter Rawlings, who would say it was one of the most exciting athletic contests he'd ever witnessed. And of course, that was just the beginning for Kyle. Kyle dominated wrestling like no one else. He is the only wrestler ever to win 4 NCAA titles in 4 different weight classifications. As a senior, he was named the best wrestler in the nation, and he was Sports Illustrated's College Athlete of the Year. Since leaving Cornell, he has continued to dominate. In the last 5 years, he's 72-2, competing against the best in the world. He's a 4-time world champion and an Olympic bronze medalist. Just a couple of weeks ago, he added a world championship silver medal to his list of accomplishments. He was only narrowly defeated in the championship final by the Russian Zorbek Sidikov, who is the reigning Olympic champion. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most accomplished Cornell athletes ever, from the class of 2013, Kyle Dake.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, and congratulations to the fellow honorees. It's just amazing to see all the accomplishments here. Originally, we were given 4 minutes for a speech, but then they heard Andy Noel's speech, and they gave us only 3, so I'm going to try to keep it brief. First of all, thanks to the Cornell event staff for putting on this event. I know it's a lot of work, a lot of time and effort behind the scenes. It doesn't go unnoticed, so thank you very much. I'd like to thank first and foremost my wife, Megan. We've been together since high school. She was by my side all through my success in college and my continued success now. And she's the reason I have such a successful family. I have 3 kids, and I adore them more than I can say. Also like to thank my mom and dad. Obviously, not easy getting up early in the morning, staying out late, traveling everywhere, going places you don't want to go. And just supporting me along the way. So there's not many ways I can say thank you other than just saying thank you. So that's what I'm going to do every chance I get. So thank you. Thank you to my brother and sister, Corey and Kristen. They were my first practice partners in the living room. Only about 1,000 rug burns, and we're still alive, so we're feeling pretty good about that. I'd like to thank my in-laws, Steve and Ellen, for putting up with me and allowing me to marry their daughter. That was pretty cool of them, so thank you for that. Also, our head coach, Rob Cole, at the time, was instrumental in creating what Cornell wrestling is. Without him, we would probably just be a hole in the ground still in Teagle Hall. So no offense to all of you guys, but it's changed a lot since we've been there, and he is a big token to that. I'd like to thank Jeremy Spates. He was my day in, day out coach. I'd go to him for anything and everything on my time here at Cornell, and he always kind of was able to level me out because I'm a little bit erratic in my behavior most days, but luckily I'm able to think of him and kind of level out, so that was a big one. I'd like to thank current head coach Mike Gray. He sat in my corner at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. He's been by my side. We were teammates together, and he coached my last 2 years in college, and I can't thank him enough. Other coaches that I feel like I need to say something about, but I don't have enough time: Matt Azevedo, Damian Hahn, Jordan Lean, Frank Pirelli, and John Cotmill, all just huge inspirations in my career. And again, you can't do this without a village behind you. So thank you to them. My teammates, Steve, Cam, all the others. Colin McDonald, just saw your face. I need to mention you too. For all the battles on the mat and then also all the laughs off the mat, because if it was all business and no play, it would not be fun. So I'm really glad to have these special teammates that I did. And lastly, Coach Noel. Oh, no, sorry, not lastly. Before that, all the alumni and friends, like without them, all the inductees will tell you, without the alumni and friends, most of you in here, it wouldn't be possible. Your generous support is more than we can ask for, even though we'll keep asking for it. So, lastly, Coach Noel, appreciate everything you've done for this university. You've paved the way for students to be able to be athletes, and you showed the university how valuable athletics is and how important it is to a university. So, really appreciate everything you've done. Nikki, you're in charge now, so make sure that the Board of Trustees knows what they're doing, so you're in charge. But yeah, my time on the Hill was truly unforgettable, and I'm grateful for everything that I received here. And yeah, go Big Red.
Thank you, Kyle. Next up, alphabetically, and as Nikki mentioned, we have Laura Fortino, who was a three-time All-American, but she is currently in Italy. She cannot attend tonight. She's competing with the Italian national team, but we are looking forward to having her here for this ceremony when she can do it, and we'll obviously give her her proper due. But tonight, suffice it to say that Laura Fortino is a member of this class, but she's got better things to do. Our next honoree from the class of 2012 is Melissa Hewitt. Melissa won 9 heptagonal championships, which is enough to make her undoubtedly one of the great track athletes ever here at Cornell. But there's much more beyond that. She was a captain as a senior. She helped the team to 3 HEPS titles. She claimed the title of fastest woman in Ivy League history when she ran the 100 in 11.66 seconds. She was also a member of the 4x100 team that set the Ivy League record. She ranks 3rd all-time in the long jump and 2nd at 60 meters. Coach Rich Bowman said, as the dominant Ivy League sprinter of her era, Melissa exuded an incredible optimism that spilled over her entire team. A natural leader, the enthusiasm showed at daily practices and competitions. It was a key element in her ability to lead the squad to the 2012 Ivy League title. She was an amazing captain, teammate, and champion. She was the 2010 Ivy League track and field MVP, and she graduates holding school records at the 100 meters, 200 meters, the 4x100. It is our pleasure to present for induction into the Hall of Fame, Melissa Hewitt from the class of 2012.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's such an honor to be here, and it's such a surprise, most of all. As I was thinking of what I wanted to say this evening, I thought of one of the first memories that I had of kind of being told that I might be talented at running. So I was 7 in grade 2, and my PE teacher ran a drill that somehow my performance told him that I needed to be on the track team. So I was sent home with a letter, and the next day my mom sent me to school with a change of clothes and running shoes, and off to practice I went on the track team. And I remember my coach pulling me from school one day to take a picture, because in Jamaica at the time where I grew up, in order to compete in sports, you needed an ID card, and I didn't have one, and a meet was coming up. So he pulled me out of school to take this photo, and I remember being so annoyed because, first of all, I just wanted to be at school with my friends. Second of all, no one asked me if I wanted to run. They sort of just told me I was doing it. And third of all, honestly, I didn't even think that I was fast. I thought everyone else was just really slow. So it was all a very confusing time, and obviously I had no idea that it would begin a part of my life that sort of dominated who I was for such a long time and brought me to a moment, this moment here that I'm standing in front of everybody. But I had the force of so many people behind me. My top 2, my mom, of course. She lives in Canada, so she couldn't be here. Coach Bowman, he's frolicking in France somewhere, way more important. He couldn't be here. But I wanted to shout out Andy Noel, because Andy, whether or not you know this, you're my 3rd greatest cheerleader. Wherever I saw you on campus, whether planned or not, you made me feel like I was the first, best, only student athlete ever at Cornell. And I really mean that. And oh my gosh, that's the photo on the left right there that my coach took me to take. And I included it for two reasons. The first is to remind me to never get that hairstyle again. And the second is the thoughts that were going through my head that day of being forced to be a runner. I mean, how my life would have been so different had I not been guided on this path. Also, my mom keeps it on her mantle. Not because she's proud of me, but I think she wants to keep me humble. She wants to remind me that no matter what successes I have in life, I had that hairstyle at one point. But truly, it's really, really an honor. I'm so happy to be here. Congrats to everyone else being inducted tonight. Former inductees, thank you so much for coming here and for supporting us. Everyone who planned this weekend, thank you. It's been amazing. All the activities have been fun. And I'm very excited to be a part of this class, and go Big Red.
Thank you, Melissa. Continuing on the track and field theme, our next honoree from the class of 2013 is Victoria Mbisi. Her coach, Mark Billick, said she was the kind of athlete you just loved to coach. She came to Cornell to get a world-class education and to throw the javelin. Along the way, she became an accomplished shot putter, too. At the outdoor HEP, she won the championship in the javelin as both a freshman and as a senior. She won the shot put title all 4 years, she won it 4 times, indoors and outdoors, as a junior and a senior. So 4 titles as a junior and a senior. Overall, 6 HEP championships. She was the first freshman in the history of Big Red track to advance to the NCAAs. She was named the co-most outstanding field performer of the outdoor HEPs in 2013. She was the team MVP that year as well. She won the javelin at the outdoor ECACs as a senior. She graduated with school records in the outdoor shot put, the javelin, and the indoor shot. Team MVP as a senior, team captain as a senior. She led the team as well to 3 HEPS titles. Coach Billick said, self-confidence and resiliency are said to be marks of great champions. Victoria possessed these traits to the nth degree. The ability to learn from setbacks, injury, and then reach championship levels was her calling card. HEPS champion, Ivy League MVP, team captain in 2013, an amazing career, and what a fighter she was. We're honored to present for induction into the Athletic Hall of Fame, Victoria Mbisi, class of 2013.
Good evening. What an honor to be here tonight with all these incredible athletes. I'm really honored. I first want to thank God for the ability to be here tonight. I want to thank my husband, Brian McGuire, and my in-laws, my sister-in-law, who were able to make the trip up tonight. I want to thank Cornell Athletics Department for the opportunity, really, to attend Cornell, and it opened the doors to so many opportunities in my life, so I'm very, very grateful. And thank you, John and Lauren, for coordinating this great event. It means so much to be here. I would like to thank my mom and dad, who are not able to be here tonight, but without them, I would never have been able to be here. They would travel from Florida to Oregon to really every single meet and support me, even though they didn't really know any of the rules of track and field, and they definitely still don't know anything, but they were my #1 cheerleader. And of course, the amazing coaches, Coach Lou, who recruited me, Coach Billick, who recruited me, Artie, we just were a powerhouse, and it was one of the best times in my life. And Coach Louise, who's here sitting with her husband somewhere for ice hockey, she was the best javelin coach I ever had. So I wish that I had met her sooner in my life, but she changed my life and really taught me how to relax under pressure, and I carry that with me every day at work. So thank you for that. And I'd love to dedicate this award to my two-week-old daughter. And I want to teach her that if you work really hard and surround yourself with great people, you will succeed. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Victoria. Our next honoree from ice hockey, class of 2012, Rebecca Johnston. The year Rebecca was recruited, when she was in high school, the women's team went 4-23-1. By the time she was a senior, its record was 30-5. Along the way, she won an ECAC title and appeared twice in the Frozen Four. She's also competed for Team Canada, which is massive understatement, winning not one, not two, but 3 Olympic gold medals. There's a silver in there too, but I don't know if she wants to talk about that one. Doug Dara, her coach, said that Rebecca is one of the most electrifying players ever in the sport, one of the top 2 or 3 fastest and most skilled skaters in the history of women's hockey. I had to catch myself on the bench because as a young coach, I sometimes got caught watching her more as a fan rather than as her coach. What I love about Rebecca is that as great as she was always humble about her accomplishments. She loved to work on her craft each and every day and genuinely loved the process of working to get better. Rebecca Johnston had a tremendous impact on the turnaround of the Cornell women's hockey program. She took a chance on us when we weren't great. That took faith, belief, and courage, and I am forever grateful. ECAC Rookie of the Year, team captain, team MVP, an international legend, and a great ambassador for her sports, ladies and gentlemen, Rebecca Johnston. From the class of 2012.
Good evening, everyone. I am honored and grateful for this incredible recognition. To be inducted in the Cornell Athletics Hall of Fame is a testament not just to my journey, but to the unwavering support and guidance I've received throughout my life. Growing up in a large family that shared a love for hockey, I learned the true meaning of teamwork, dedication, and perseverance from a young age. My parents and siblings have been my rock, my inspiration, and my greatest fans. Their unwavering belief in me, along with their tireless encouragement, have propelled me to reach heights of which I can only have dreamed. My time as a member of the Cornell varsity women's hockey team was nothing short of life-changing. The camaraderie and shared passion for the game amongst my teammates were the building blocks of our success. I will forever cherish the memories we created on and off the ice and the lifelong friendships I've made. I would like to express my gratitude to my coaches, mentors, and teammates who have shaped me into the athlete and person I am today. Their guidance and wisdom have been instrumental in my success. A special thank you to Doug Dara, my head coach, who has always pushed me and challenged me on and off the ice. I don't know if there are too many coaches who would have woken up at 6 a.m. for a skate just to work on some skills before class. He's been a huge part of my career, not only with Cornell, but guiding me throughout my national team career as well. I also wanted to acknowledge the incredible support of Cornell University, an institution that fosters both academics and athletic excellence. The opportunities and education I received here laid the foundation of my future endeavors. In closing, I would like to dedicate this induction to my family, who instilled in me the love of hockey and the values that have guided me throughout my journey. To my teammates, coaches, and mentors, thank you for believing in me and helping me achieve my dreams. Thank you, Cornell University, for this extraordinary honor. I'm grateful and so proud to be a member of the Cornell Athletics Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Rebecca. A brief hockey interlude, and now back to track and field. We'll be returning shortly, though, to hockey. Our next inductee is Katie Kellner. Katie was a three-time All-American, a HEPS cross-country champion, and she led Cornell to consecutive Ivy championships, all while setting school records. Let's go back to late October 2011. The cross-country championships, HEPS, are taking place at Princeton. That weekend, Friday was perfect, 65, clear skies. Saturday was a monsoon. A nor'easter blew up the coast. Driving wind and rain soaked the course. Snow began to fall as the men's race was underway. This was late October. You might remember that was Sandy, Irene, and there were people falling all over the course. It was very cold. By the time the men had finished, there was snow everywhere, and the women were off under gusting winds. Runners had on a lot of extra layers. Many had to get medical attention at local hospitals after the race. Coach Artie Smith remembers it this way: "I will never forget Katie's absolute lack of fear. The conditions were miserable. She took the lead. Prior to the race, she felt, as did the group, that we had the best team, and the last thing we wanted was for the other teams to stick close. So the plan was for Katie to push the pace. That was the plan before, when it was 65 and sunny, but it was going to be a difficult plan in those conditions. Nevertheless, alongside her close friend and classmate, Jenna Hartung, Katie hammered away, stringing the field out. The image of these two close friends working side by side is one I'll never forget." In those conditions, Katie was extraordinarily tough. There's a great picture of her, a memorable picture. She's got on short sleeves, no long tights, no hat. The only thing on her body beyond the shorts and the tank top was olive oil, which the coaches had slathered on her to provide insulation. That was Lou Dusing's secret sauce in extreme cold and wet. The rest of the team followed her lead as she ran undeterred and undaunted. She finished a career best fourth that day. She was a junior. She won the race the next year as a senior. But that year, when she was a junior, setting the pace, she strung out the field, which helped Cornell's third, fourth, and fifth runners move up in the second half of the race. The Big Red won by 2 points, thanks to Katie leading the way and the openings that she created for her teammates. An epic win for one of the great track and field stars in Big Red history. But we should mention that all these years later, Katie's only getting faster. Just a couple of weeks ago, or this past weekend, I should say, in Berlin, she ran her personal record in the marathon, 2 hours and 32 minutes. And with that, it's our honor to present for induction in the class of 2013, Katie Kellner.
Thank you everyone so much for being here tonight. Before coming here, I was clicking through the Hall of Fame website and looking at all the previous inductees, and it's just incredible. There's over 100 years of athletic history in there, and to be invited to join such a prestigious group is really quite an honor, so thank you. Just a couple people that I wanted to thank. First, my mom, who really pushed me to run cross country. She thought I would be good at it because I ran laps around the house for fun and jogged to the bus stop because walking took too long. I really didn't want to join cross country. I was a pretty shy kid, and in fact, in 6th grade, the first year we could do it, I misplaced the medical sports forms, so I wasn't allowed to compete that year, and did not run in 6th grade. But she encouraged me to do it again in 7th grade, and I did join the team, and it truly changed my life, so thank you. And then I also want to thank my dad, who told me before every race that it didn't matter how well I did, just that I had fun and enjoyed it. And that's something that I really take to me to every race to this day. I also work as a coach of many other runners, and that's something that I tell them as well. And I also want to thank my sister Caroline, who has always been my biggest fan ever since she was a little girl, just coming to all my races and supporting me. She followed me to Cornell and is also a HEPS champ herself in the 10,000 meters. And finally, I want to thank my coaches, Artie Smith and Lou Duzing. They really supported me and provided me with so many opportunities. Artie cared so much about my running that I'm pretty sure he has every split from every workout that I ever ran at Cornell somewhere in his basement. But truly, they really cared about me a lot and cared about my success. And not only did they value me as a runner, but they saw me as a whole person and helped me through a lot of challenges at Cornell that were not related to running. So thank them for really, seeing me and making the sport fun and has kept me into it. And that's why I'm still running today, because they kept my love for the sport alive. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight, and thank you for this induction. It means a lot.
Thank you, Katie. Our next inductee, and I know many of you have been waiting for this, is Andy Noel. Where is he? He was just sitting there a second. Oh, there he is. Jeez. Oh, my God. Sneaked up on me. You got to stop doing that. I've known Andy for about 40 years, something like that. Just, before we get to, all these numbers and accolades and all that stuff, on a personal level, and I'm far from unique in this, Andy has meant so much to me and my family. I think everybody in this room, everybody who's touched Cornell athletics over the last nearly 50 years, with his enthusiasm, with his skill, with his commitment, really one of the giants of this school, which goes back 160 years. So that was the nice stuff. Now we'll get to some of the numbers, which I promise, which are remarkable. So under Andy's leadership, the Big Red won 106 Ivy League team titles, 37 national championships. Nearly 2,300 Cornell athletes were named All-Ivy, with Andy as AD. 850 first-teamers, 400 All-Americans. Fundraising, as you know, is a big part of the job, and Andy excelled at that as well. He led an effort that raised more than $300 million in support of capital projects and program endowment, all while growing the department annual fund more than 260%. 25 coaching and staff positions were endowed under Andy's watch, bringing the total number of endowed positions in the athletic department to 35, which is the most in the nation. He added women's sailing, which became the department's 37th varsity sport in a time at which, as we all know, so many prominent athletic departments are dropping programs and sports. In 16 of his final 17 seasons, Cornell ranked among the top 100 programs in the NACDA Directors' Cup standings, getting as high as 52nd in 2009, 10, and finished in the top half of the Ivy standings 11 times, including number 1 in 2006 and 2007. In all, Big Red coaches earned National Coach of the Year honors 14 times under Andy. 11 of them were coaches Andy hired who had no previous head coaching experience. Of the top 15 coaches in school history with the most victories in their sports, 9 were hired by or coached under Andy. Andy, of course, prior to becoming an administrator, was our head wrestling coach from 1974 to 1988, where he laid the foundation for the tremendous success that's been experienced over the last several decades. His teams won 4 Ivy League championships themselves. They were runners-up 4 times. In 1990, he was recognized as the EIWAC the championships for his distinguished coaching career at Cornell. In 1992, he was inducted into the New York State Wrestling Coaches Hall of Fame. He's also a member of the EIWA Hall of Fame. A lot of halls of fame here, Andy. This is old hat for you tonight. The New York chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2014 enshrined Andy. He coached 10 NCAA qualifiers, 3 EIWA champions, and 1 All-American. His teams went 108, 82-1 in dual meets, including 56-22 against their Ivy opponents. After serving as head wrestling coach, Andy spent 2 years as an assistant AD in the public affairs office, implementing the department's annual giving program. His position was endowed 20 years ago by Scott and Heidi Smith and Jack and Diane Meekum. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, someone who has touched so many lives here at Cornell and beyond, Andy Noel.
Thank you, Jeremy. Wow. Jeremy, your friendship and generous investment in this joyous occasion has meant so much to me over the years. And I must say tonight, this is the 45th Hall of Fame dinner, and I've been at 44 of them. I've missed one of them when I was not aware that the dinner was happening. Gratitude. I'm filled with gratitude. Gratitude for Cornell University. Gratitude for 43 years of involvement in a one-of-a-kind, world-class university. Gratitude for the many friends who traveled to Ithaca to support me during this induction tonight, and friends living in the Ithaca area who have joined us this evening. Gratitude for my mentors. Hired in 1974 as a wrestling coach by the Dean of Athletics and President of the U.S. Olympic Committee, Robert J. Kane, and Director of Athletics, John Anderson. By the way, 2 ADs at the same time. So it's not that way right now, everybody, but maybe in the future. But I proudly served under directors Mike Slive, Dick Schultz, Lang Kennedy, and after 6 years in business with Olympic gold medalist Charlie Moore. Gratitude from my mentors. Gratitude to my fellow inductees. Perhaps more than any previous class, these exceptional Cornellians elevated the profile and reputation of Big Red Athletics. World and Olympic gold medalists, NCAA champions, and members of Final Four teams. One of the best lacrosse players ever to pick up a stick. One of the greatest football alums we've ever had. Quality throughout the class, simply amazing. Gratitude to our loyal and generous alumni parents and friends. Imagine over 10,000 gifts in support of annual operations. Yes, each year, not cumulatively, 10,000. Plus capital project and endowment gifts in the millions. This level of care and support fueled my drive and cemented my resolve to nurture a department respected across the NCAA. If I may, seated at my table, my beloved son Jonathan, in whom I am so proud, just became a partner in his hedge fund, so he doesn't need any support from his old man anymore. Pat Welch and Scott O'Neill, 2 of my most dear and loyal former wrestlers. Dr. David Hirsch, father of cross-country runner Brooke Hirsch. NCAA wrestling champion, but I must add so much more. Dave is a renowned dentist and maxillofacial surgeon who, pro bono, that is for free, with a team he assembled of other doctors, rebuilds the facial structures of soldiers severely injured in action. He rebuilds their faces. And his service with his team stretches well beyond service, folks. Scott and Heidi Smith, the Smith and Meekum Smith Director of Athletics and Physical Education, now held by Dr. Nikki Moore. Scott, a member of one of my first teams, and Heidi initiated and managed Camelot Capital to the benefit of Cornell Wrestling and cancer research. David Wexler, the Cornell Wrestling alum who was the first to advance in the mid-1970s that the new and emotional head wrestling coach would benefit from a dose of calming perspective, as well as mentorship and financial support, which he provided us. Phil and Rochelle Prjansky, I and Cornell Wrestling continue to benefit from a lifetime of generous support from the godfather and godmother of Big Red Wrestling. Trust me when I tell you, we would not have the program we have today without Phil and Rochelle. Not in attendance tonight, but present in my heart are the father and mother of Cornell Wrestling, and like the Prjanskys, generous benefactors to many areas of our university outside of athletics. Their support of the Friedman Strength and Wrestling, the support of the Friedman and Strength and Conditioning Center have provided a transformative impact on our program. I would be remiss not to publicly acknowledge the trustees who continue to invest their acumen, time, and resources into Cornell athletics. With us tonight, steadfast supporters of Big Red Athletics, Trustee Dick Emmett, Rich Booth, Emeritus Trustee and Presidential Counselor, and Board Chair Craig Kaiser, who awarded me 2 extra minutes in my speech tonight. So thank you, Craig. Yes. In conclusion, when asked what my proudest accomplishment was during 23 years as athletics director, the answer is the quality of the head coaches that were hired to lead approximately 1,200 varsity athletes each year. These leaders provide a positive experience through developing a strong team-first culture, stressing that while they are competing for each other and their coaching staff, they are also competing for many alumni and friends who provided much of the foundation for their life-changing experience. Everyone, thank you for your kind attention. Go Big Red.
Yes, Sandy.
That's 142 pounds right there.
It's a while ago. For me, too. Thanks, Andy. Our next honoree is simply one of the greatest ever in his sport, Rob Pennell. Jeff Tambroni described Rob as a force multiplier, in that he made everyone around him better by the way that he prepared, studied, and played the game. Jeff said it was an honor to coach Rob. I was blessed at Cornell and then years later with Team USA to coach one of the greatest of his generation. He elevated the standard and instilled confidence in everyone around him. He played hard and practiced harder. He held his teammates to a high standard and held himself to a higher one. Ben DeLuca added, driven, intelligent, tough, loyal. Rob is one of 4 Big Red lacrosse players to be named All-American 4 times. He was Ivy League Player of the Year 3 times. He was named National Attackman of the Year twice. The list of honors goes on, but his amazing collegiate career was punctuated with the ultimate honor in the college game, and I can never pronounce it correctly, Rob. I apologize. The Heisman of men's college lacrosse, Tewaaraton. Did I say it right? That was pretty good. No, what is it? Tewaaraton, the Tewaaraton Award, which he won as a senior, recognizing him, as I said, as the college game's most outstanding player. Internationally, Rob is only the all-time leading scorer for Team USA, and he's won 2 World Championship gold medals. As a pro, he's one of only 5 players to have scored more than 300 goals, and there are only 2 in the history of professional lacrosse who have more assists than Rob Pennell. But more important than all of that, Rob just got engaged a couple of weeks ago. He's finally becoming an adult. And ladies and gentlemen, Rob Pennell.
I'm not sure anybody knows how to say that award correctly, so it's all right, Jeremy. Congratulations to all of tonight's inductees. I feel very fortunate to have been on campus during many of your incredible accomplishments in what was an exciting time for Cornell athletics, and humbled to be inducted alongside you today. When reflecting on my time at Cornell, the wins and losses, the awards and accomplishments are not what come to mind. It's the 4:30 wake-ups, Friday morning miles, slope day, and not the one everyone's thinking about. The senior classes that led the way, voicemails from Richie Moran, George Boyardi, and Abe McNenny, 2 people who many of us players never met, but have had the biggest impact on Cornell lacrosse over the past 20 years. Without them, and without Richie Moran, Cornell lacrosse wouldn't be the family that every other Division I program tries to emulate today. Thank you to Andy Phillips, Kevin Cook, and Mike LaRocco for spearheading the Cornell Lacrosse Association and setting up the young men of Cornell lacrosse for success long after graduation. Mike LaRocco, you are the greatest. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you to Coach Busick and Coach Stevens for leading the way for Cornell lacrosse. It was an honor to play with you, and there are no 2 better men to lead our program. The future is bright for Cornell lacrosse with you 2. Coach Howley, the most consistent presence in Cornell lacrosse for the last 20 years. Thank you for instilling in me a love for strength and conditioning, for teaching us as men to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. To my teammates, thank you for your hard work, dedication, and commitment. We always won the weekend during the week, and this induction is because of you. Special thank you to my teammates who are here tonight, former co-captain and great friend Jack Dudley, Chris Langton and Mitch McMichael, my best friends on and off the field who understood me the best, and Max Sebald, the best leader I've ever been around, who showed the way every single day. You motivated me to have the same impact on Cornell lacrosse that you did. Thank you for your mentorship and friendship. To my coaches, Coach Chambroni and Coach Shaluka. Coach Shaluka, no one believed in me more. You cared more about us as men off the field than you did as players on the field. You challenged me constantly in the weight room, on the field, and off the field, as a leader, as a player, and as a person. Our world championship together in 2018 is one of my fondest memories. My family, my grandma, my grandpa Ed, who's not here with us today, my brother and sister, James and Genevieve, who put up with me being the middle child, and are greatest siblings as I could ask for. To my uncle, Jim Metzger, none of this would have been made possible without you. It meant everything having you there in the stands on game day, and still does today. Thank you for everything you do for our family. Mom and Dad, words can't express how lucky I feel to have you as parents. It's been a long journey to me standing up here today, and no one has experienced it more than you. Thank you for being tough on me, always believing in my abilities, and willing to do whatever necessary to allow me the opportunity to succeed. Lastly, to my fiancée, Maggie, I'm so glad you can be here for this tonight at a place that is so special to me. Thank you for your support of me and putting up with my crazy schedule as I still strive to play at the highest level today. I wouldn't be able to do it without your support. There's no greater honor in my career than being inducted into the Cornell Hall of Fame. Cornell means the world to me, and as Richie Moran would say, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I promised we'd be returning to hockey. And our next honoree, another Canadian Olympic gold medalist, Lauriane Rougeau. A three-time, I'm sorry. I'm looking at another line here. I'll wait to get there. In 133 games with Cornell, Lauriane tallied 116 points, and she was a defender. She was named the best defender in the Ivy League 3 consecutive seasons. Internationally, she's a member of a very exclusive club of players who have won the Clarkson Cup, which is the women's hockey equivalent of the Stanley Cup, a world championship gold medal, and an Olympic gold medal. There aren't many who have won all 3. Coach Doug Darrow said of Rougeau, she is the smartest and craftiest defender ever to put on a Cornell hockey jersey. She was always one step ahead of her opponent and always showed great poise. There were many opponents she would make look bad with her defensive and offensive prowess. Lauriane Rougeau and Laura Fortino were the only first-year players added to the roster in the 2009-10 season. The year before that, the team was 12-14-5, and in the next 4 seasons, Lauriane and Laura together played a major role, leading the team to 4 Ivy League titles, 3 ECAC tourney championships, 3 Frozen Fours, and an NCAA title game. An All-American, a world champion, an Olympic champion, ladies and gentlemen, Lauriane Rougeau.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by congratulating my fellow inductees. It is an honor and privilege to share this accomplishment with you. Your careers at Cornell demonstrated devotion, passion, and determination to your sport. I would like to thank Cornell University and the athletic department for this honor and for this wonderful weekend. From a young age, I knew I wanted to play Division I hockey in the States because of my father. Growing up, he would recount his stories from his college years. He kept saying those were some of the best 4 years of my life. At that time, I didn't understand what he meant. But I knew I just wanted to be just like him and play college hockey. His stories inspired me to work hard and achieve my dream of playing hockey in the States. Looking back at my experience, I do agree with him, some of the best 4 years of my life. I cherish the friendships I've made along the way and the stories I will carry with me until my future kids. I knew from my unofficial visit that Cornell would be the home for me for the next 4 years. Right away, I felt a sense of belonging, and I knew that this is where I wanted to be. The only issue was, how was I going to tell my parents that I wanted to go here and not somewhere closer or somewhere that they offer a scholarship? I don't have the best memory in the world, but I'm pretty sure I sat them around the table, started crying, started begging, started pleading, saying, this is where I want to go. But my parents had a vision and understood that this was meant to be at Cornell. For that, Mom and Dad, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for all the sacrifices you have made during my hockey career, the long hours on the road, the freezing cold arenas, and the time you took out of your schedule to support me and cheer me on. It means the world to me to see you always sitting in number 7 in the arena. To my sisters, thank you for always being there with me and coming to cheer me on during my biggest moments. Your presence and friendship have meant the world to me. You are both inspirations, and I hope you know that I always looked up to both of you and always do to this day. Thank you to my coaches, Doug and Itzit, who believed in me throughout my 4 years here at Cornell. You have pushed me to be a better hockey player, but also taught me to be a better person. Thank you to my teammates who uplifted me and made my experience here magical. I knew my time on the Hill would be special because of the types of individuals I was surrounded with. We achieved great things through the ups and downs, and we believed in ourselves when no one else did. A little thing I don't think she knows, but Rebecca, when Coach Doug recruited me, said that Rebecca Johnson is at Cornell. I was like, well, I got to go because, she's an Olympian already. So I knew that was one of the factors that decided for me to come at Cornell. My time on the Hill will always hold a special place in my heart. I look forward to coming back and cheering on the next generation of athletes. Go Big Red.
Thank you, Lorianne. If there is a single position in all the sports at Cornell that has a distinguished history, going back decades and decades, if you were to pick one, it would probably be goaltender in ice hockey. And tonight we are inducting one of the best ever at Cornell, Ben Scrivens. Mike Schaefer, who's here tonight, said Ben was one of the best ever here at Cornell. People have asked what made him great. Mentally, he was relaxed going into games, which allowed him to perform at a high level. He also had a short memory. Goaltending requires intense concentration and focus. If you dwell on a goal allowed, it can distract from the task ahead. Ben was confident in his abilities and was always improving. Even with a constant improvement in his technical skills, he always maintained his confidence in his ability to improvise and use his outstanding instincts to stifle would-be goal scorers. His play in his senior year in the ECAC playoffs was unbelievable and unbeatable, and I don't know if another Cornell goaltender will ever rise to that level of play again. After Ben led the Big Red to the ECAC title that year, having surrendered only one goal in 4 tournament games, Union's head coach, Nate Lehman, said Cornell has the best goalie in the country. Ben was named first-team All-American. He led the nation in save percentage, and his 1.84 goals against average was mere thousandths of a point behind the national leader. He earned a spot as a Hobie Baker Award finalist. At the conclusion of his career here at Cornell, he ranked 4th in Big Red history in goals against average, and he held school records for consecutive starts, career games played, and career shutouts. He earned the Ken Dryden Award in 2010, which is the ECAC's award for the best goalie in the conference. He would go on to play 6 seasons in the National Hockey League with Toronto, LA, Edmonton, and Montreal. Many in Edmonton remember the night he stopped 59 shots, allowing no goals, shutting out San Jose. It is a franchise record that still stands. In international competition, he was a member of the Canadian national team that played in the 2014 International Ice Hockey Federation World Championships, and he won a bronze medal at the 2018 Olympics in South Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Scrivens.
Thank you. I've got some additional help, it seems. So, can I put you down for a little bit? Okay, thank you. Go back and see Grandma. Improvise, right? First off, I'd like to thank the athletic department, the Hall of Fame committee, and John and Laura for all of the work this week and this weekend. I'm honored by the recognition, and especially among such greatness as this Hall of Fame class. Thank you to the staff here at the Statler Hotel. I was a hotelie about 15 years ago. You would have seen me working a banquet just like this, so I want to give recognition to the school that was formative for me. So thank you to the staff here today, many of whom have come up and said a friendly hello. Jeremy, thank you for being here tonight. You always represent Cornell so well in the media, and it's nice to get that residual recognition, so thank you. Andy, thank you for overseeing the athletics department during my time here. We never had a complaint to make. Everything that we ever needed as athletes and as students, that's an important part, was always taken care of. So thank you for all of your efforts. Big shoes to fill, Nikki. The trustees have found the right person for the job. Fellow inductees, I'm odd. Oh, geez. I'm going to fail Comm 101. Fellow inductees, I'm awed by your careers and the people whom you are as you make up this Hall of Fame induction class. You all left indelible marks on Cornell athletics, both as competitors on campus and at the international level. Lorianne, Johnny, Fortino's living the life in Italy, so she's not here. You three are trailblazers. You may all not know, but they are Canadian royalty. It was my honor to suit up at the Olympics and be, again, able to ride your Cornell coattails. So it is a huge honor for me to be here with you all today. And I want to give special recognition for the work that you guys have done for women's hockey in the creation of this league. All of the future success of the women's game, a lot of it is tied to the work that you guys have done. So congratulations. Mom and Dad, you provided me and Bronwyn with the opportunity to attend such a storied university. Adam also became a lawyer. My mom, Donna, was always such a supportive force in my career. She'd research agents. She built a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet of all the NHL depth charts so that I knew what I was facing going into free agency. She flew to the Soviet bloc on multiple occasions, actually spent a birthday there. She wanted me to have the best opportunity to succeed. You've always taken genuine interest in what I've been doing, and that's given me the confidence to keep at it. And you continue to do that today, so thank you. Wayne. Wayne provided the blueprint for getting better and earning success. As much as someone can be self-made, that describes him. And he did it through sacrifice, hard work, and dedication. I, unfortunately, only inherited half of those genes, but I've been fortunate to supplement the rest with opportunity and good fortune. So thank you, Dad. Adam, my brother. Adam's been a role model for me since we were kids. I got into metal music after stealing his Deftones CDs. I started skateboarding because he and his friends did, and I continue to learn and be influenced by him as a dad, as evidenced by my prop earlier. Thanks for being an icebreaker for me and Bronwyn. Bronwyn, my sister, she is the legitimate superstar of us three siblings. She transferred to Cornell, walked onto the equestrian team, and finished 11th at NCAA's, the highest finish by a Cornell athlete in that sport. Hall of Fame committee, if you're listening. You are an ideal blend of serious and fun, hardworking, and easygoing. Adam and I are lucky to be able to watch you succeed in all that you do. To the boosters, represented tonight for me by Jeff and Paige Frey. Jeff, Paige, and their son Taylor represent what boosters mean to us athletes. Thousands of miles away from home, they open theirs and provide us with the luxuries to make us feel more settled. Thank you for the bottomless Caesar salads, the cookies, the logistical support for the teddy bear toss events, and for being a family away from home for me. To my school friends, my time here in the hotel school was pivotal for me. It created a lifelong balance between hockey and the rest of my life. It's helped ease my transition into life after athletics, and for them, I am forever indebted. Scotty Garrell recruited me from Western Canada. Without him, today's honor wouldn't be possible either. Coach Schaefer has built a program at Cornell that is lauded by teams across the NCAA. His architecture created the foundation for my career. He pushed me and taught me so much about myself and the game. He made me earn my position on the team, and he had never let me become complacent. We're very good at giving each other compliments in a weird way, isn't it, Shane? Thank you for the opportunity to play at Cornell. I'm forever appreciative. To all the support staff, Pedro and Eddie Ice, they're not here tonight. They are the unofficial assistant coaches, the therapists and emotional supports that we athletes needed over the course of a long season, so thank you to them. Coach Howley, big boy. Congratulations on your semi-retirement. Yeah. Undoubtedly, you're going to find success with the drive and determination that you bring. And as everybody else has mentioned before, you're such an impactful part of my career, my development as an athlete. You had your work cut out for you when I walked on campus as a freshman, so look at what you've done. Sue Dietzer, thank you for all of your administrative support over the years, both with the Cornell hockey program and with Quill and Dagger Honor Society. Thank you very much. Lastly, to my teammates, the classes above me and below for setting the standard and welcoming me and my class to compete alongside you. They are the blood, sweat, and tears that were the muscle behind the architecture that Coach Schaefer built. I am appreciative of them. My classmates, Brendan Nash, Blake Gallagher, Colin Greening, Hall of Fame class of 2020, I believe, Justin Kruger, and Joe Scally. 5 of my best friends and guys I will be close with for the rest of my life. I'm proud to say our class, this is one of my proudest things to say about Cornell. Our class left the Cornell hockey program in a better place than where we got it. And not everybody gets to say they did that. It's hard work, and I'm appreciative of that challenge. I'm gonna get a bit emotional here, sorry. Lastly, I'd like to acknowledge my teammate, Ray Sawada. He was my captain and my friend. Ray passed away this year at age 38. I'd like to honor him today for all he meant to me and to Cornell hockey. So please raise your glass, take a second to remember him and anyone else that you've lost that helped you be here in this room tonight. And with that, I say thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben. We have 3 more enshrinees to be honored tonight. And again, we return to the mats. Our next honoree from the class of 2012, Cam Simez. Cam. Cam was known throughout the world of collegiate wrestling for his incredible conditioning. And many who watched him compete said that he had the biggest gas tank, that is cardiovascular capacity, in the college wrestling world. He won many matches against All-Americans in the final minute. He grew stronger as matches progressed, winning handily, often by major decision. Teammates and opponents, likening his physical resemblance and mental resolve to Arnold Schwarzenegger's, dubbed him the Caminator. The Caminator. His then teammate and now our head coach, Mike Gray, has a slightly different take, you'll get your chance, Cam, on what made Cam great. It wasn't his gas tank, it was the fierceness of his competitive spirit that drove him to condition to the point of owning his opponent and taking great pleasure in watching their spirits broken. Wrestling's a nice sport, which is exactly what happened in Cam's victory in the NCAA final. an NCAA champion. He was also twice the Ivy League Wrestler of the Year. He ranked second in Big Red history with a 145-21 record and first with 100 bonus wins. He was 31-1 as a senior, his only loss coming on a medical forfeit. He dominated the Eastern Championships, winning 4 titles, only the 11th wrestler ever to do so. He never lost to an Ivy League opponent. He was first team All-Ivy 4 times. During his career, the Big Red won 4 Ivy League and EIWA team titles and finished in the top 6 at the NCAAs every single year, including national runner-up finishes in 2010 and 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, Cam Simez.
Appreciate it, Jeremy. I'm not often compared to Arnold Schwarzenegger, like if ever. I was probably the weakest guy in the weight class my entire career, so kind of an odd comparison. But I wrote some words as well. So I got my folks, my brother, some friends over here for the weekend, and we're doing our best to fit in. Speaking of not really fitting in, it's nice to know that there's finally some congruency between my academic life and my athletic life here at Cornell. I couldn't believe that I snuck in and I snuck out of Cornell, like this university, right? From the academic side of things. And it appears I'll be doing the same thing from the athletic side as well. So it's nice that those, they kind of like form together. I mean, let's be honest. Look at this room, right? Look at the names and the accolades of the people being inducted tonight. It's insane. It really was. I said the same thing about the Cornell Friedman Center, by the way. That's insane. But this room and the talent in this room, it's daunting to say the least, and I think it's preposterous that they're allowing me in alongside them. Clearly somebody made a mistake, but it's too late now, baby. I'm in. What's up? So I got some stats too. So to prove my point, I don't have nearly as much as Jeremy did, but to prove my point, I have a quick list of accomplishments. And listen, I barely made it through Cornell, so my numbers might be off, so I put at least in front of all these things. So there's at least 11 Olympic teams made in this room. Olympic teams. There's at least 36 world teams made by the individuals in this room. Just this class. I know there's some other Hall of Famers that are joining us. There's at least 9 professional athletes. There's countless Cornell All-Americans, and there's 1 athletic director that made it all happen. So, needless to say, the imposter syndrome, if that's what they call it, is strong with the guy speaking right now. The only true term that comes to my mind is grateful. I'm certainly grateful for tonight's celebration. Lauren, I'm sorry for all the hassle I put you through. But I'm far more grateful for my time spent here on the Hill and the many relationships that came from it. And let's be honest, in the bitter end, it's only the relationships and the memories that matter anyway. So in a lot of ways, I feel I've already been overserved my fair share, but thanks for another one. I appreciate it. That's it.
Thank you so much, Cam. That was fun. We're going to have some fun with J.C. Tretter now. He is our next honoree, as you can see, from the class of 2013, J.C. Tretter. So, 10 years ago, in the NFL draft, J.C. was picked 122nd overall by the Green Bay Packers. And we thought it might be fun to dig up his scouting report, official scouting report on J.C. Here's some of the things that were observed about him. He's an all-around athlete. He was a quarterback and basketball player in high school. He was recruited to Cornell as a tight end. After playing tight end his first 2 seasons, he moved to tackle, and the offense improved immensely. He shows great football smarts and made a very quick and smooth transition to his new position. He adeptly recognizes blitz packages and can detect early what the defense is trying to do. He adjusts nicely and allows himself to get into position to pick up the pass rush and make multiple blocks. He's an all-around athlete. They kept saying that, and possesses an athletic build and is very light on his feet. But he's only 307 pounds. We think he can bulk up. He also plays, which he did, but has since reversed course. He also plays with a bit of a mean streak. When Treader has a defender off balance, he will quickly drive him to the ground. Treader has no known character issues. He's a very serious football player and a student of the game. He shows attention to detail and constantly wants to improve. Pretty good scouting report. JC would go on to play 111 games for both the Packers and the Cleveland Browns. He started 90 games in the NFL. His career speaks for itself. He was an All-American. He was All-Ivy. He covered Jeff Matthews' blind side, and he allowed the Big Red to set new Cornell and Ivy League passing records in those 2 seasons at left tackle. He is, moreover, putting his degree from the College of Industrial and Labor Relations to very good use. He is and has been for the last few years the president of the NFL Players Association. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Carl Treader, Jr.
One of the things my agent told me when I was coming out was don't act too smart. They don't like really smart people. It's going to be a bad thing. So that was one of the first coaching points coming out of Cornell into the NFL was don't bother them with your smarts. But I want to start by congratulating the rest of the inductees. This group, when I was told I was going to be inducted, my first question was who else is going in the class, and the list of the people that I was so impressed with when I was on the Hill and beyond. Truly amazing to be going in alongside you all. I want to thank a handful of people. I want to start with Coach Howley, who turned a 235-pound high school quarterback into a 300-pound offensive lineman over 4 years. And one thing you don't really realize until you're officially done playing organized sports is there's not anybody to tell you how to work out anymore. I told Coach Howley this week, he is still training me now because once I realized there was nobody giving me workouts, I dusted out my summer 2010 college football training manual and began doing the same work as I was doing back then. So you're still training me to this day, Coach. I also want to thank Coach Fila, who was my offensive line coach here at Cornell, who again, I was a 250-pound tight end. And in less than 2 years, turned me into a 300-pound offensive lineman that was drafted in the NFL. So I couldn't have done it without him either. I want to move to my family. My sister, Katie, who I shared 2 years with here at Cornell, who helped me get on my feet here and helped me figure it out. I tried to repay her with being her late-night Uber driver whenever needed, and I think we eventually got even in that trade. Her early nights signing me up for the right classes, and my late nights driving her home whenever she needed it. I want to move to my parents and start with their presence. They never missed a game in college. All 40 would base their vacation off of it, would drive out to every single game. And I want to thank them for their sacrifice, for putting me through Cornell, making very tough decisions, and helping me and my sister come to this university that has given us so much. And then lastly, instilling the drive to do what's right. And that's something that means a ton to me now and in my role, whether it's popular or not, always standing on what you believe is right. And lastly, I want to thank my wife, Anna, who we did not meet in college, but it's probably for the best, as I don't think she would have been too interested in the guy that wore his Cornell football sweatsuit 75% of the time, was not probably going to be interested in. But going through my career, especially by the back end, surgeries, broken bones, torn up knees, the sacrifices you've made, I can't thank you enough Couldn't ask for a better partner and also a phenomenal mother as well. But again, I'm so honored to be amongst this group. It is truly my pleasure to be here. Go Big Red.
Thank you, JC. And now, our final enshrinee from the class of 2012 in the Hall of Fame class of 2023, Chris Robleski. And I'm assuming most of you remember, especially many of you who were here at Cornell at the time, the 2010 basketball team and all that it achieved. It was a couple of years ago that Lewis Dale and Foote and Whitman were inducted. Steve Donahue said of Chris, whom he coached when Chris was a freshman and sophomore in that memorable era, Chris was the quintessential guard. He did whatever it took for his team to win. He could score. He was a magnificent passer. He defended. He rebounded. What I'll remember most about him is that he joined the team as a freshman, which was undefeated the year prior and made us better. More than anything else, he was a great teammate and the consummate team player. Chris was a 3-time All-Ivy selection. He was a 2-time academic All-American. He graduated as Cornell's all-time leader in assists, and he scored more than 1,000 points. He was a 2-year captain. He played on 2 Ivy League championship teams, including that 2009-10 team that went all the way to the Sweet 16. He finished his career ranked 4th in Big Red history in three-point field goals, 5th in three-point shooting percentage, 9th in free throw percentage, 9th in steals, and 10th in free throws made. His 119 games played ranked 2nd all-time at Cornell. As a senior, he led the team in scoring, 3rd in the league in assists, 2nd in steals. He was first-team All-Ivy that year, and he became just the 2nd player in Cornell history to surpass 1,000 points, 400 assists, 300 rebounds, and 100 career steals, joining the aforementioned All-American Lewis Dale, his former backcourt mate. It's our honor to present for induction our final enshrinee tonight, Chris Robleski.
Thank you, Jeremy. What an honor. First off, I want to thank the Cornell Athletics Department and the Hall of Fame Committee for organizing such a special evening. To my fellow inductees, your accomplishments and accolades are truly impressive. You all made such a lasting imprint on your programs and the university at large. Congratulations on a momentous occasion, and I'm honored to share the stage with you all tonight. As many before me have said, I wouldn't be standing here without the love, support, and guidance of my family. How can you say thank you to parents who did everything for you? My mom is with me today. Thank you for your unconditional love, for nurturing a genuine love for the game and everything in between. The long drives, the flights, the cheering, the support, and motivational words. My dad is no longer with us, but I know he's with me in my heart tonight and smiling ear to ear. To my wife, thank you for accepting that basketball is my first true love. Although we didn't meet till after college, you've always understood and appreciated Cornell as a special place that I hold in my heart. Thank you for giving us 2 amazing children, and I can only dream that someday they find their version of Cornell, a supportive, encouraging, and challenging environment that made me the parent I am. I had the most authentic and passionate coaches a player could ever ask for. Coach Donahue is here tonight. Thank you for making the trek and taking the effort to be here. Thank you for believing me and giving me some of the best memories of my life. Coach Earl, I've only known you the last couple of years, but I think it's safe to say that the program is in good hands. It's clear that the tradition of excellence is carrying on. I also wouldn't have gotten here without my teammates. I was fortunate enough to play with some of the best players Cornell has ever seen, and the job of being a point guard was never easier than those few years with Whitman, Dale, and Foote. The wins were special, the long practices and early morning lifts were rewarding, but they pale in comparison to the relationships that I built and still have to this day. Some of my best friends are from Cornell, and I'm getting ready to go on our annual Cornell Basketball Ryder Cup that we've deemed the Donahue Cup. It's these friendships that live on and continue to thrive. I loved Cornell when I was here and just want to thank the Cornell community for everything that you've given me then and now. I don't accept this honor lightly, and I'm deeply honored and humbled standing before you tonight. Thank you.
I want us all to take a deep breath and just appreciate what it's like to be in the presence of greatness. What a special night that it has been. I want to extend a thank you to each of you for being here. A special thank you to the Hall of Fame committee, who works tirelessly to pore over the annals of our very storied history to find the best representatives of what it means to be excellent as a Big Red student athlete and contributor. So these remarks conclude our Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the class of 2023. But before we say goodnight, please join me, and I hope others, in the singing of our alma mater.